There are over 230 films from all around the world, and one of those films you could check out is the short film I'm Losing You. I can't wait to talk about this piece because it is such a unique short film. I haven't seen anything like it in our lineup, so I'm really excited to talk about it. And here to talk with me about the film is Mark Sposato, who is the co-director on this film. Mark, thank you for joining me.
Oh, so happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me. And I'm going to represent for Courtney, my wife, and directing partner, and myself.
Absolutely. I have a lot of questions for both you and Courtney, so I'm really happy that you can represent her on her side because I know you guys you're married, you're a power couple and filmmakers. I love it. I love to
Yeah,
see that. So can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and about I'm Losing You?
sure. Well, what I'll say about myself is that I married somebody who devoted her life to filmmaking. It wasn't, my initial path. I'm a graphic designer, still am, interested in visual art, but Courtney's love for cinema and making movies was just contagious. I met her at the end of college, and after a while, we realized we both can team up and make some cool stuff together. And this is our third film that we've done. Actually have four completed, one more in the can. And that's kind of she's the reason that I'm on this crazy journey, and I'm talking to you now about the short we put together. So the film is basically a challenge that Courtney and I gave each other when we had our daughter. We decided that we wanted to each write scripts and not tell each other anything about them besides the prompt, that we wanted to address our feelings about being new parents. So Courtney wrote this one. She, you know, we had our daughter in like the craziest time ever. It was the very beginning of the pandemic. She was born in February 2020, so it was like when everything was just going nuts. There was a lot of anxiety about that, about the isolation, about concern for the future, about what's happening to the world, on top of the fears associated with being a parent for the first time. So it was a crazy time, and this is I'm Losing You is the result of Courtney's inner thoughts at the time.
Wow. I mean, so much to be said. And also, I just love how you guys made this like film prompt for you, like start writing, don't tell each other. Like, how great that you have just like a motivator and someone to hold you accountable right at home.
Yeah.
I'm happy you guys are making films and
Oh,
congrats on the fourth one.
thank you so
So,
much.
you guys were inspired by what was happening with the pandemic with your daughter. Congratulations on that too.
Thank
But
you.
this actually wasn't the film itself isn't placed during like the pandemic, but it all happens online, right? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I mean, partly it was logistical. We knew that it was in the middle of COVID when we were like trying to put this all together, and we knew we couldn't kind of get to a set at the time. Eventually, things lifted, and maybe we could have, but the time we were writing it and like
Mm.
conceptualizing it, it was pure lockdown. Nobody was really doing anything, and we were inspired by this great film we saw at Sundance just as fans, a few years prior. It was called Searching, and I think they since titled it Search when it got released. But it was this John Cho film, and it all took place on screens. And it was, we learned that was kind of a subgenre called screen life. So it's like
Mm.
everything you see happens through some kind of digital screen, whether it's an iPad or your computer or like a news report on a TV or whatever. Nothing you're seeing is not being shown through the perspective of a screen. So we kind of realized we could do something during this lockdown using those parameters. So we actually directed everything via Zoom. We mailed our actors GoPros and lights to set up around their own computer, and instructions on how to do it. And even we had like an LA unit that shot outdoors, but like we still were directing from New Jersey and in our new house. Some people that we hired in LA who since became good friends, but it was just a crazy, crazy experience doing it all via Zoom. because that's kind of how we were living our lives here.
That is so cool. And you use like AI technology in this too. It was the
Yes.
use of technology and all that. What was it like not only co-directing this with Courtney, but doing it all remotely? What was that directing process like for you guys?
It was interesting. So it was, in a lot of ways, it was simpler, because like being on a set, even a small set for shorts, is just crazy. So like here, there was, in a sense, more control. There wasn't the camaraderie, although I say that, but then we did, like I said, we made some really great contacts, became friends. So that was amazing. That was kind of just lucky, but it wasn't that feeling of like everyone striving for this common goal, this one purpose that you get on an actual film set. It was more of like, okay, we're doing a weird thing. People think it's weird. We think it's weird. Let's get it done. But it kind of like gelled, and it became, something we didn't expect.
Hmm.
And everyone was great. Like everyone took instructions in this new way really well. We did prepare a lot. Courtney did a lot of the technical research about how to just light things properly in this manner. And then with the AI too, again, she did so much research. Her background is in editing, not necessarily visual effects, but in our previous short, Hey It's Me, she did all the visual effects. And this was a huge step up because she used this AI generative technology to create the fire, but also this aging technique where we use young actors our age to play people around our age, to people in their late 50s, to people in their 80s. And it was just incredible. And she learned that all on her own and just
Wow.
did tons of research online and figured out a way to do it and made it happen. And the results were just insane. And all the credit goes to her. Very important.
Absolutely. You guys fooled me because without giving anything away, the actors who are wonderful who play mom and dad, I thought they were one age, and then I saw the other, and then I was just so it was so amazing. Like the use
Yeah.
of technology and how real it looks, insane.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
really want to talk about the cast because we're seeing so many different screens, so many different homes, so much of these stories. So those were all people you cast. That was no footage you guys like found and used. All of this was like, yeah.
Mostly. So the footage of the baby B, she's our daughter. So that was our home movies
Oh,
with our
wow.
daughter. She's probably
Wow.
gonna hate us when she's 16, but
She's
hopefully she'll think
adorable.
it's cool. But everything else, they were actors. And what's great, one thing of the many things I love about filmmaking is, we really try to build a family and then keep in touch with people. And our actors were actors from previous films. So like the guy that played the father was our lead in our first short film we ever made that premiered at Garden State. And he became a really good friend. And of course we brought him back for this. His wife, the mother character, was one of the actors in our previous film, Hey It's Me. And everyone else. Same thing with Caitlin, the actress that played Mavis. She was also in our first film, and then she was incredible, absolutely incredible. We were blown away. And then Catherine, who played maybe her daughter. We don't know exactly what's going on, but she was also just a recommendation from Kent, who had since become a very close contact of ours too. So it's like all just pulling people together that kind of share a common spirit, and we keep kind of going to that amazing well for
Right.
these really wonderful performances and just great attitudes, which is also really
Absolutely.
important off
Wow.
screen.
I'm wondering what is it like when you're directing a film? Because this film, I feel every time one of the things I love about film is when you watch a film multiple times and you can get a different message each time you see it. You discover something new each time and you still don't know what's going on. I feel like that's a film like this. I really didn't know what was going on half the time, but I loved it. How do you like direct when people read the script? I can imagine that it's a little confusing, especially on paper. Once you see it on paper, if this is making sense, I hope it does. How do you direct that? Like, especially Mavis's character who's going through all these emotions and maybe it doesn't really make sense on page. How do you direct that? Like,
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, Well, the answer for us was we just tried it a few different ways. We had fun, we experimented, we played. And, you know, our friend Caitlin, was amazing. Sorry, I keep calling her Caitlin. She goes by Coco now, Coco Marshall. We knew her as Caitlin way back, but anyway, she was just so down to just try things. Like all we would just say, like, "Hey, try it with a little bit of attitude, or try it, where you're just like totally shell shocked, or try it where you're just confused." And she was really down. And then Catherine Daddario, who played, the adult version of Baby B, same thing. We just kept trying it over and over again, like with different spins. And then in the edit, we were able to have a lot to choose from. So we don't normally approach it that way, but for this kind of a thing that was very surreal, where the emotions were, you know, uh, basically driven from a place of not quite reality, we felt like we had to have a big range to choose from. So
Right.
that for us, quantity and having a lot to choose from was kind of the key to making it all work.
Wow. Oh, so then that brings me to my next question is like the editing process, because I know Courtney edited this and she's a really accomplished editor, worked on Showtime, on like HBO, some awesome projects, which was really cool to see. So I'm sure you saw her in the editing room. How long did it take for her to edit this? And was that difficult?
Um, you know, I, I'm not gonna say it was easy because it wasn't, but she did it really quickly. It was just amazing how quickly we pulled this together. Again, all the credit to her. Uh, don't quote me, but I think it was a few months. It was like not, other things maybe a couple months, I think, something like that. But yeah, it was, and there was so much involved because we had to approach it because of the way we set up the screens. We didn't do screen captures, like when there was a browser that comes up or a video that plays. It was all assets that we created and then had to animate. So it was actually a combination of an edit and an animation. So a lot of it was in After Effects, and it was every little thing was composed, built first in Adobe Illustrator. That's my graphic design background that really helped us there. And then Courtney did a full animation of everything happening, and she actually did, before we put footage in, she actually did like kind of a rough cut that was basically just an animation with placeholders for the real footage. And then we had to like comp it in, but she just kind of put her head down and tackled that, and it was amazing.
What a masterpiece this is. It's crazy the amount of work you guys put into it and your talents
Oh,
together is crazy.
thank
So, I mean, I was hooked the first time I saw Natasha Lyonne's name, heard her voice, and then the amazing edit you have. You hook me, you hook everyone in the first second in this film. And then from there it just blows me away. And then I was like, all right, I need to find this meditation of Natasha Lyonne because I love her and I love her voice. And then I heard her say Mavis, and I was like, this is not a meditation. They got Natasha Lyonne. What? How did
you.
that happen?
I mean, that was very fortunate. We were so excited. Really, the way that happened is we have a casting director friend who works in advertising. He's a voiceover casting director. He knows a lot of A-list talent because they all do commercials. And he helped us cast all of our movies, and he's just a great guy. Lance Kistler is his name, and he's just extremely, just helpful and collaborative. And when we told him we wanted to get someone substantial for this role, you know, uh, our first thought was Natasha. We're like, hey, let's give it a try. And he's like, yeah, we'll try it. I know someone who knows her, and he sent out an email, and she just wrote back and said, yeah, like I read the script. I think it's cool, and happy to help. And it was just one of those fortunate things where you don't know until you take a shot.
Mhm.
And it wasn't a direct connection, but we knew someone who at least could contact her people, and it happened, and it was
Wow,
great.
that's inspiring. Think big, there's no limitations.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, amazing. So, I mean, I'm like digesting everything, but we're running on the last like minute, and I wanted to ask you two questions. First question, quickly, is what makes a great film to you? Because as I said, I love when I could watch a film and discover something new each time, and this film really has that. So, what makes a great film to you?
Um, I think Courtney would agree. For sure, I feel that a great film needs to make you feel deeply some way. And that's up to the filmmaker what way they're trying to elicit a response, but you have to care in some way emotionally. And then also, I love it when films make you think, not just feel, but think. And to me, that creates this resonance where it doesn't end when, when the credits roll. It kind of sticks in your mind for a while, and you think about it for days and weeks, and if you're really lucky, years.
Mhm.
So, not to say that anyone's going to do that with, a short film, but the best movies of all time, or at least are short. But the best movies of all time, I find myself thinking about years and years
Yeah.
later, and maybe carry with me my whole life. And that's kind of like the ultimate goal. And we're always trying to get closer and closer, inch closer to that.
Wow.
So
Well, I think you made that goal. And speaking of thinking and feeling, what do you hope an audiences get from watching I'm Losing You?
for this one, it was so like I know it's very dark, and there's moments of levity and laughter and all that, but the main thing is just to appreciate like what you do have going on in your life, because at any moment, I know it's kind of a dark message, but anything could be taken away from people, and we hope that it would make people just kind of realize that we're not going through what Mavis is going through, hopefully. And if you are, even then, it's like there's still a path forward. But like if you're not suffering the worst tragedy imaginable, be grateful for like the things that you do have that are working out, because yeah, it's people are really what make life worth living, and it's something to really cherish. So
I love it. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And will you and Courtney be at Garden State Film Festival for the
yes, very
screening?
excited. We're alum in 2 times, and this will be our third, and it's just one of our favorite festivals ever. We just love being there, and we're very excited to join you
And
this year.
and one of those times you were there, you won an award. Can we shout that award out as well?
Yeah, it's right there behind me. So Hey, It's Me won Best Sci-Fi Short in
Yeah.
2022, I think. 21
Ooh,
maybe, I don't know.
I
But
love
yeah,
it. It has been such a pleasure talking to you. Congratulations to you and Courtney. Let me tell everybody watching how you can see I'm Losing You and meet these amazing artists. It'll be screening at the Berkeley Hotel in the Kingsley Ballroom. It's Saturday, March 25th in the Film Block, 5:45 to 8 p.m. So definitely check it out. Thank you again. Congratulations, and I'll see you at the festival.
thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you there.
Bye.
Take care.